The new for 2021 Omega Speedmaster MoonWatch, this time in the red Sedna gold, coming up. Blake did a great video a little while back on the white canopus gold, however you say that word, that the MoonWatch came out with, and it was a great video. You should go back and watch that one. But we have it here today in the Sedna gold, which is Omega's version of red gold. It's sort of like the Everose that they use at Rolex. It includes some really expensive alloys that will keep the finish from ever fading. It'll keep the red color from ever going away. It really stabilizes the metal. And it's an expensive alloy to make, so they have their own special word for it, Sedna. But it is an absolute gorgeous watch, and this is one of my favorite moon watches that I've ever seen. Similar to what Blake said about the white gold one, it's a really beautiful, dressy, elegant sport watch. And to me, in a lot of ways, that even a lot of other watches, like say a gold Daytona, don't really approach the dress sort of elegance sort of aspect to the watch, especially with this black alligator strap and the double trigger deployant buckle that Omega has fitted to it. But the features of the watch, I'm sure you're well familiar with by now, but it is a beautiful case. It has the brushing on the sides, even the bezel. The finish is just outstanding. The way they've polished the lyre-shaped lugs. The bezel, they've retained a lot of the looks of the original watch that Buzz Aldrin wore on the surface of the moon, which is the 105.112, I think. But that was the fourth version of the Speedmaster, and it's the one that really kind of stuck. But they made a lot of changes in 1974 that we haven't seen since then, and they've incorporated a lot of those into this one, which is really cool. The dial has sort of dished subdials, so it gives a three-dimensional quality. It's not just a flat dial, it's sort of a step dial. The Omega logo at 12 is actually applied on all of these precious metal versions. There are some in the steel that they came out with in this new version that are printed, but on the precious metal versions, the versions with the sapphire crystal, they're all an applied logo. And, you know, this is the first big Speedmaster change since 1996. So they made that one for about 25 years. This one, I'm sure they will make for at least another 25 years. This is no doubt the Speedmaster we're going to see for decades. And it's cool that they're making these precious metal versions not in a limited edition like they always were before, but these are just current production. But they're still really rare in the market. We're not seeing a lot of these out there for sale. So it's exciting that we got this one. The bezel insert, interestingly, again, as an homage to the old version that Buzz Aldrin wore on the moon, it is a painted aluminum bezel insert. It's not the ceramic that you might expect on a modern watch. And it does have the dot over 90, the diagonal 75, and the dial itself has a lot of the rose gold elements, which really picks up nicely with the black. It's a great combination. Kind of looks almost retro to the 1940s to me with the rose gold and the black combination. The movement itself, I mean, we can't say enough good things about it. It's the 3861, which is in direct lineage to the 321, which then became the 861, which then became the 1861, and is now the 3861. But it's really beautiful. They've pared away a lot of the plates so that you see this very three-dimensional view of the movement. It has all the Cote de Genève waves. It has gold-filled engraving, so it's really beautiful when you look at it. And it's got all of the advertising writing on the back of the watch, which I really appreciate. They didn't write anywhere on the front that it's a META certified master chronometer or coaxial or water resistant or anti-magnetic. They left all of that for the back of the watch, which I think is a lot more tasteful than printing it all over the dial. One thing about the dial that I find really interesting, they sort of cleaned it up by making the word Speedmaster and Professional exactly the same width. There used to be different widths, and so now they're all the same. They also went back to the more original looking chronograph hand with its original counterweight. But speaking of all those features, yes, it is MEDAS certified, which means that after casing, it's tested at 6 different positions, different temperatures for a long time. It's more of a real-world test than a COSC chronometer test, because it is tested for shock resistance, magnetic resistance, water resistance, things that it really would go through in real life. And it is more accurate than what the COSC requires for a chronometer. It is a master chronometer, which means that the accuracy is rated from 0 to 5 seconds a day. And that's really amazing. It is, of course, still a manual wind mechanical watch. It has a 50-hour power reserve, and it is water resistant to 50 meters. I'm not sure I would really consider that swimmable in my own world, or definitely not in any sort of hot water like a shower or a hot tub. But Omega does call that swimmable. We'll leave that up to them. But it is a sapphire crystal front and back. Not real thick. It's just a hair over 13 millimeters thick. And so it's very wearable. It looks great on the wrist. It feels great. The 42 millimeter diameter is just about perfect for every wrist I've ever seen it on. So if I had to pick just one dressy sport watch that's my all-time favorite, this is it.